Hello everyone, it's Travalgar Vallertine again. How are you doing today? Today it's 8 o'clock in the morning here in England. It's a bit cloudy and overcast. Did this fun drawing on a train yesterday when I was going to Durham, so I thought I'd finish off by doing the centre today. Today I thought I'd talk about an interesting idea called morphic resonance by Rupert Sheldrake. I think he coined the reference from someone else in the 70s, I can't remember. I kind of just wing these talks. Anyway, he talks about how morphic resonance is sort of an inherent memory around the globe, with nature and animals and humans and everything, and even the solar system and the galaxy. It's like a field force that we can't see that connects animals and plants to each other's species and even to more closer items of the species as well, like the legs and arms and stuff. It's where nature could communicate around the world, not on the baseline of the material experience, but on the baseline of the subconscious experience throughout the earth. It's as if the category of animals is on one list and then it's spread out throughout the world. He found this when they were training mice to run in a maze, and they would get electric shock if they went the wrong part of the maze, and then they would get a treat if they went the right part of the maze. At first it took about 200 tries or something to get the mice to run around the maze at the appropriate times, but after that it just got easier and easier for them, and then they tried the experiment around the world, far world. I think it was from Australia, then they tried it again in Scotland, and the mice got better sooner, and then they tried it somewhere else and the mice got better sooner, and they found out that the mice could inherently get better at this subconsciously. They were kind of communicating and getting better on a baseline level. And it was also found when these small little birds called blue tits would discover milk on the top lids, this little thick bit of cream, and that's they would start pinching it off every doorstep. And then they found out that the birds in Holland had started doing it as well, and those birds could not have communicated, where they're not migrating birds, and the lifespan is only 3 to 4 years, and there was a milk shortage during the war for that time, so there was no way they could easily communicate. But now we've stopped having that kind of foil lid, so the birds can't steal it anymore. And there's minor morphogenic fields within fish and pack animals such as wolves, and colony animals like insects and stuff like that, where they could communicate to each other and know what to expect and what to predict without talking to each other or trying to signal each other, stuff like that, where fish know where they are in the water and they know where everyone else is going and they don't bump into each other and stuff. With ants and stuff, they organise in a colony without talking to each other. They know exactly what they need to do and they just get on with it. In pack animals, they can communicate each other over long periods of time and they know what to expect from each other, and they organise each other in a certain group. And it's not particularly by their choice, they're in a sort of trance and given messages by nature what to do and stuff, subconsciously, so they can't even know what they're actually doing. They would automatically do it. Wolves know how to organise themselves into a dominance hierarchy. It's just interesting to know. I mean, pets and animals and stuff like that. It's just interesting to know how the pets next to you right now, they could learn from us quicker than we can imagine, and given a signal by an alternative force that we can't control. Ooh. The archetypes of our subconscious and things act on the magnetic fields as well. I think that's another control of the Earth, how much magnetic field goes out, and I think that's what most animals would use as a communication device, and also a homing device as well. It sort of like gives out a massive sonar reading of the Earth and everything in it to all the animals and creatures. Our archetypes in our collective unconscious, our patterns of behaviour that are really controlled, but instead, well, are controlled by culture as a marketing device, such as our initial habits of basic need: food, drink, sex, drugs, fun, activity, entertainment, stuff like that. They're all controlled by culture as a marketing device, but our emotions and our dominance hierarchies and stuff like that, and who should be in control and how we should feel and stuff like that, that's controlled by emotions and thoughts that have personalities and goals that are over 500 million years old in our bodies. They've dominated other species before us, and now they're dominating our species in a certain way. Culture is basically feeding it and we're in control of it. For instance, people end up in a dominance hierarchy, not necessarily by the control of culture or anything, although a culture can maybe alter the initial speed of it by either feeding it or leaving it alone and things. And things that will last in our culture forever, beyond anything else, without any tension, is the things of the archetypes for us, such as shamanism. They've existed in the primitive life almost, although it's not very naive to say what kind of technology advancements they've made and stuff like that. Their technology and existence of reality is a completely different level to us altogether. They have teachers and spirits and guides and all sorts of interesting help from nature that we won't even conceive to even think about. They'll probably get much more communication from nature, like in a morphogenic field. They're probably people who are closer to the Earth, ones who feel it intuitionally, and the ones who can use plant technology to actually communicate to plants themselves, which would necessarily have a subconscious thought beyond beyond anything we might even imagine. I mean, we control ourselves on a conscious level. Well, we think we do anyway. Animals would control each other on a subconscious level. They're under a sort of trance from nature, and can develop morality and ethics and stuff. Plants have to be on a much more cooperative level, much more hypnotized by nature, so they literally don't have a choice or can't even think for themselves. And the needs are very, very small, so they'll stay where they are. They won't need to move. Their energy is exactly where they're rooted in the ground. And they'll get these messages by nature that to reach up the sun, drink the water, have the sun, and they're very happy and stuff like that. But then to control the environment around them, they have to be cooperative as well, so they would look nice and smell nice for the birds and the flowers and stuff, so they would help them out and to expand themselves and reproduce and stuff. They would develop into all sorts of interesting chemicals and hormones to make animals go near them and eat them and then disperse them, or develop themselves into interesting compounds that would be enjoyable for us, such as cannabis, for example. I believe it developed itself into a system where it could easily cooperate with us. We would enjoy it and benefit from its effects for all sorts of reasons, be it medical or just as a relaxing stimulant, and then we would farm it completely, and that's proven quite easily where in our modern culture, even with the laws and stuff we have, it's still popularized and still sold. No matter how many times the jail goes up or how expensive it is, it will inevitably be able to go beyond what culture does to try and control it, because it's very, very cooperative with us, and as soon as you take it and try it, you'll understand why. And other ethnobotanical plants as well that have developed towards us, they will inevitably on the same level where they have cooperated with us in a positive way, which is pretty much exactly what Sasha Shulgin was trying to discover, using all sorts of different analogues of plant coordinations to try and figure out what plants give us what and things, and how they can affect us and how can they help us and stuff. And people of the Amazon rainforest would use them, and it would give them messages about what plants to try and eat and stuff like that. They would say that this is the ancestor spirits. I think I heard from McKenna that they would believe that these were the people of the dead, the spirits on the other level, who have now inherited inside the plants and stuff. I mean, we can't really comprehend that. I mean, how do we even try to begin to understand when we can't even figure out exactly the morphic resonance around us? I mean, you could say that the entire history has been a development of greater communication, i.e. from the writing systems of symbology and writing on stone, writing on wood, writing on slate, writing on rocks, and then parchment, paper, turning it into books, developing the printing press, developing motion picture, developing the internet. It's just been a steady growth in communication, and then once the communication level has reached to a certain level where it's so extraordinarily high, the elements of nature will take hold and these archetypes will shine through. I mean, you can already expect on popular websites such as All Time Tens exactly what the culture needs to feed to keep on going, and you already know when certain events happen where the news will be. You already know. And well, actually, now I think about it, even on a small level, you will start syncing with your neighbour if you get to know them long enough, and the stronger the emotional attachment, maybe you've known them for 10-15 years and you understand their behaviour. Oh, so and so goes out into so and you'll develop a sort of morphic resonance stronger. Rupert Sheldrake strongly suggests that the stronger the emotional attachment, the greater the morphic resonance of the person. And they'll start syncing heart rates, and I mean, it won't even surprise me to start syncing dietary habits and entertainment habits. I mean, culture just feeds off this by offering us the same things of what we would enjoy, but we will start connecting on a higher level, and when we start enjoying things we emotionally enjoy, such as instrumental music, for example, it's not particularly narrowed down to exactly what it is and what you should feel, but how you actually experience it, as a using experience as sort of like a guideline. It's developed on a much more higher level, because experience is not something you can talk about, it's something you have to feel. And you know that instance where you say to someone, oh, you've got to try this, what's it like? You have to try it, man. Just try it out. It all becomes clear. Just a fun idea to think about the pets next to you, they could be communicating to all the other pets around the world. All these stories and films you see about how pets have independent lives outside of humans, and they can organize into situations and stuff, could all be true. It could be a little animal city somewhere. They've developed the morphogenic field so much that they've actually communicated on how to actually avoid being detected, and they can actually start developing themselves. You just never know. These sort of fields, we can't really measure them very well, I would say, but I suppose there'll be some ways of measuring them. I mean, you can easily predict where morphogenic fields will be stronger, and it won't surprise me when it starts going into the galaxy, into the solar system and stuff. The planets will start communicating to each other when meteorites approach. What should we do with this meteorite? Well, Jupiter can handle it. It's fine. He's the big quarterback of it. Boom. And then they'll decide, well, the smaller one, well, it won't affect Earth very much. It'll probably just wake them up. We'll hit Earth. Boom. Yeah, that had a good impact. Now they're changing their ideas and stuff, and they're developing this. Well, this meteorite? Oh, perhaps land on this planet. It's got some growth on it. They'll be able to grow some new life and stuff. And even the galaxy will be like thinking of the solar system before. What should we do with the solar system? We're starting to develop the meteorites quite well and stuff like that. Well, they're doing pretty well. We can maybe bump them up somewhere else. Move this solar system out of the way. It's not doing very well. And over the precessional year, we slowly, gradually start moving around as the Earth starts expanding outwards. You never know. I mean, it's even go even further and try to even conceptualize where these morphogenic fields were developed and designed, thought out. I mean, try and think about that. It's like gravity, for example, although it does exist, but where does it come from? Does it just happen out of nowhere? Like, what, things in nature don't just happen out of nowhere. I mean, yes, we've got surprising things happening here and there, but there is development and build up towards those things. So what, the development and build up of morphic resonance and gravity? What was before morphic resonance? If nature starts communicating itself on all these different planes of all these landscapes of imagination, how else would they develop themselves? I don't know. It's very early in the morning to be thinking of this kind of stuff. It's looking okay this so far. I'm not really knowing what I'm doing, but I'm just having a bit of fun. Not really thinking about the colour schemes or anything like that. Just going with it. Go with the flow, man. Anyone else got any thoughts on morphogenic fields and stuff? I mean, it is a conceptual idea. A lot of people don't really want to accept it and stuff. They think it's just a pseudo-scientific idea, but it's one of those ideas that it doesn't really matter if it's true or not. Just open your mind a little bit and just think about it. How nature really does communicate with itself. How does it affect the kundalini of the earth, which is the spiritual center, sort of like the outlet of earth, the communication from Gaia? I mean, do you think the pets that we have, they know what they're doing and they're just waiting? Then they can just relax and be pampered by us because they know what's coming. You just never know. I think that's it for today, guys. I think I'll finish off this picture quickly, just a few bits here and there, then you can have a look at it on Facebook if you want, or maybe a few other links I'll put down below. Hope you enjoyed watching this and just open your mind a little bit about what's going on, morphic resonance and stuff. You know, just check out Rupert, sheldrake, and on YouTube and Google and stuff and have a look for yourself. Probably talk about some more of his ideas that are very interesting. But anyway, if you like this video, you can give it a thumbs up, or if you want to see some more, I'll probably be talking about waffling about other stuff. Give us some comments below and subscribe and stuff. Usual pish. Have a look at my Etsy shop if you want for some nice crafts. We've got a birthday coming up and things. You can have a look at some of my larger crafts on my website. All these links will be below. Pinterest as well, and DeviantArt and all that stuff. Anyway, thanks very much for watching and listening, and I'll talk to you another time. Thank you. Goodbye.